I have never played Grand Theft Auto 5, and I'm determined to change that this year. Everyone has a gaming backlog. Well, maybe not everyone, but every gamer has a backlog. And if not every gamer, then at least 99.999420069% of them do. An ever-growing list of games that they swear they'll play through one day. But with hundreds of games releasing every day, yes, every day, it would be impossible to play through them all. Okay, of course we're not adding every single game that's released to our backlog. But still, there are a hell of a lot, and we aren't going to get through our backlogs unless we tackle them in a logical way. Recently, I watched a couple of videos by Daryl Talks Games. One that goes into his backlog and his plans to tackle it, and an update video a year later. The kid's got spunk, and he's inspired me to take action against my own expanding list of games that I swear I'm going to play. I took a leaf out of Daryl's book and came up with my own spreadsheet of games that I wish to play in 2024. And I've narrowed it down to a naively digestible 72 games. I have to say, seeing all these games laid out like this in front of me fills me with determination to get through them all. I'm filled with purpose and motivation, just the same as I am when I'm looking for a motivational Final Fantasy music playlist to listen to while I'm working. Where are my other OST lovers out there? Anyway, the 72 games came out to be quite the mixture, in not just genres, but age and length as well. We'll go over them all in a bit, but a few that I am eager to get to is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Persona 5 Royal. Let's have a look-ski. Here it is, the 72 game backlog in all its glory. Currently it's sorted in order of length. Scrolling through you can see it goes from one extreme to the other and has almost every number in between. These times were gotten from how long to beat, and honestly I'll probably take longer than these estimates I think. It depends on how much side content I do. There was only one rule I had for coming up with games for this list, and that was that I had to only play through games that I already own. Across the different platforms and game launchers I use, I have hundreds of games, most of which are untouched and need my love. That, and I have a big interest in saving money this year. There are plenty of games that have been released that I do not own, and they can be added to next year's backlog, depending on how successful we are with this one. Of course, rules are made to be broken, and I would be a fool to think that there is an exception here. I've allowed 4 games onto the list that I do not own. Well, 3 games, but I'll explain soon why I'm counting it as 4 games. I didn't keep every column that Daryl had in his. I didn't feel the need to go extremely granular, but it was a fantastic base to start from. We have length, so I tell my girlfriend, whether or not I own the game, have I played through to the very end and rolled the credits, the time it took me in game hours, and over the course of real world time too. My rating on a scale of 1 to 10, and the reason I dropped the game if I did. Second column is for the platform I have the game on, or the desired platform if I don't yet own the game. To be honest, the games I don't own are all PlayStation exclusives. I do feel like I've got a good mix of games here. From your short, artsy walk-in sims, third-person action adventures, and my personal favourites, point-and-click adventure games and JRPGs. On top of that, I have games that were released last year, 10 years ago, one from 1998, and at the time of writing, one that has recently come out. When I start that, I'll be on cloud 9. 3 guesses which game I'm talking about. Final Fantasy is my favourite series of games by a long shot. My whole arm is covered in tattoos of Final Fantasy 9 and 10. There was no way this list was getting made without Final Fantasy being present, and yes, Final Fantasy 9 and 10 are on that list. For good reason, not just because of my love of the games. You will notice there's some colour on here already, and the traffic light system I'm using is pretty simple. You've probably already worked it out, but if a game is highlighted green, it means I've finished it. Yellow is the game I'm currently playing. Right now it's Final Fantasy X, which is enthralling to say the least. Red is for any game that I tried to play, but for one reason or another I gave up. So far I've given up 4 games. I gotta say, Daryl is some next mad professor to come up with that huge spreadsheet. It was uplifting to see him lay everything out, and I don't think I would have done it myself if it wasn't for his follow-up video a year later. The video shows how he went about tackling the backlog behemoth, showing all the ups and downs along the way. Some of the downs are pretty down. Seeing what he learned from the exercise and hearing his thoughts is what's inspired me to take on my own backlog challenge. Backlog is something that's always been looming in the background as this shapeless miasma waiting to be cleared away. No structure to it, but always growing. Thinking about it always gave me a sense of frustration and hopelessness that I would never play most of the games I wanted to. I started to feel frustrated when seeing amazing new game reveals simply because it's just another in the pile that maybe I'll get to one day. Now I've made this 2024 backlog spreadsheet, gaming life doesn't seem so bad. I've given that miasma a container for it to take shape and not grow any larger. I know the size of the beast and I'm going to kill it bit by bit. I know how amazing it's going to feel when I finally finish that list though. I imagine the sense of relief at the end will be the same as those videos you've seen on TikTok of some doctor removing a massive piece of wax from someone's ear and they managed to get it all out in one unbroken chunk. I'm hoping to learn a few things from taking on this challenge of finishing a backlog. One lesson I'm hoping to learn is that I can finish a large project over time if I put my mind to it. As some of you have probably seen from the history of this channel, I've had trouble in the past sticking to one big thing. That thing being actually making and uploading videos somewhat consistently. Other lessons I wish to learn are those from the games themselves. Video games are beautiful creations made by people from all walks of life with different perspectives, so I want to learn from these people and maybe see things that I've never seen before. You've seen, I have a wide variety of games here. This list was meticulously crafted using a special algorithm I created. A lot of stuff was happening in the background to get all this together. By that I mean I scrolled through all the games I own across all the different platforms and thought, yeah, I always wanted to play you, and added it to the list. I already own a lot of games, so I didn't have a specific criteria for what should make the cut. There's a little piece of everything and every age in here for me to delve into and catch up on what I missed out on through the years. And of course, Final Fantasy. I had to make sure to add Final Fantasy. Even though I already played all of the ones on the list before, the reason that they've been added on here is because I lost access to my PSN account and had to make a new one. Not a fan of Sony's system for dealing with this, by the way. That's a whole thing I would love to rant about, but this is not the time. So anyway, I wanted to play the Final Fantasy games again on my new PSN account, so the evidence is there. But you see that it says I don't own Final Fantasy IX? I do own it on Steam. But I want it on PlayStation again, like I did before. However, the Moguri mod does make it look even better. The only other game that I purposefully selected to be on the backlog was Indiana Jones: The Fate of Atlantis. And that's simply because I had my content creator head on and thought that I could also make a video on that and get some traffic come my way because of the new Indiana Jones game releasing later this year. Other than that, I would love the idea of streaming myself playing some of these games. It would save on my hard drive space from the gameplay recordings. Please let me know if you'd like me to try that out sometime in the comments. I can set up a stream for us to hang out in while I show off the fact that despite my love of games, I'm not greatly skilled at them. Any way I can get you guys involved in this project somehow. It's a journey we can take together. I know with your moral support I can get through a good chunk, if not all of these games, by early 2025. Ideally I'd love to finish this list by April 1st, so let's work this out for a second. All of the estimated hours it would take to complete every game on this list, not including the games that I finished or dropped, add up to 1,451 hours. At the time of writing this, there are 354 days until April 1st, 2025, which means I would need to play around 4 hours every single day. Good heavens, I'm gonna need some encouragement here. Well, that math is a real eye-opener. Looks like I may struggle to get all that cleared whilst having a full-time job, having a 5-year-old child and making YouTube videos on a regular basis, which I'm absolutely going to do, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what comes next. Look, I think I've kind of already conveyed the idea that I'm okay if I don't get through every single game on this backlog this year. The main thing is getting it all together in one place and giving it an honest try, and I am gonna give it a try. Playing all these games won't be a rush job though. A few of the games on this list need to be savoured, like the one you can see I'm currently playing, Final Fantasy X. That's not a game you simply blast through. You gotta stop and smell the corruption of organised religion. Take it all in. Some games I'm more excited to play than others, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth being one of them. I'd love to know some of your strongest recommendations from my list. It could change the order in which I play them, so let me know in the comments. An update video will be made in about a year's time to see how I got on with this project as a whole, but you should have a good sense of how I'm doing because there's a chance that all the videos I make in the next year will be based around a recently completed game. For instance, my next video has a small chance of being based on the first Deponia game. Although 2 and 3 are in my backlog and already completed, it would be weird not to talk about the one that started it all. Plus, Daedalic Entertainment could use some good press. I got loads of ideas in the works though. Maybe, just maybe, I'll blow the dust off my account and dive back into the cesspit that is X to give updates. Maybe even Instagram. No guarantees though. I'm kinda loving not being on social media anymore. Although, that would be a good way to share your own backlogs with me. That's if you're nerdy enough to have made a list or a spreadsheet like I have. If that's the case, then I'd be overjoyed to see some of your backlogs, at the risk of stealing some of your entries and adding them to next year's list myself. Caring is caring after all. And tell me how you are going about tackling that list. Are you setting yourself some challenges? My 2024 gaming backlog will probably be my biggest challenge this year, and it's self-imposed, which probably says something about me. The name 2024 gaming backlog, gives a somewhat clear indication of the timeline that I want to complete this by. If I complete this list, that is. I won't be mad if I don't finish this list, because I can just shift some of the games to next year's list and just start the process all over again. Playing through the games on this list isn't just about trying to keep up with the ever-growing backlog, but also about playing a variety of games and trying new experiences. I want to look back at the end of all of this with a broader mind and a deeper appreciation for different types of games. I have to extend my gratitude to Daryl Talks Games for inspiring me to tackle my own backlog after seeing the intense battle that he had with his own. Not sure if he will ever see this, but just in case, thank you, Daryl. You have filled me with inspiration and motivation to finally tackle all those games that I never got around to playing for bullshit reasons. And also a reason to make some content. Again, I encourage all of you watching to list out your own gaming backlog for 2024 and try and tackle it with me. Share your progress in the comments so we can all celebrate together. You can use the comments below as your own sort of log to keep coming back to update it when you've crossed off another game from the list and see how far you've come. We can do this together! Games are beautiful and deserve to be played, not stuck on a list somewhere. Let's play. Thank you for watching and starting this journey with me. It truly means the world to me to have your attention. Be sure to subscribe to follow along with my process and see what I have to say about the various games that I finish. Or not finish. We'll see. And click up here to see a review of Return to Monkey Island, a game that I have finished. And I'll see you over there. Bye bye.